Anyone making videos on the internet knows the rule. You have exactly 5 seconds to stop someone from swiping past your face. Getting that initial pause is difficult enough, but keeping that same thumb paralyzed over the screen for an entire 5-minute story is a completely different architectural challenge. Consider a script published by a creator known as the Watcher of 3:02 AM. It starts incredibly simply. A guy's brother buys a house in Ohio. It's a quiet neighborhood filled with nice people, and the price is cheap. Maybe a little too cheap. This mundane domestic setup acts as an algorithmic Trojan horse. It bypasses your initial skepticism, leading you into a narrative trap specifically built to exploit the mechanics of the attention economy. The trap is set on the very first night. A neighbor stops by with cookies. They have a normal conversation. But right before leaving, the neighbor delivers a highly specific warning. Whatever you do not look out your front window after 3 a.m. Naturally, at exactly 3:02 a.m., the brother wakes up to a perfectly silent house. He remembers the warning, and inevitably, he breaks the rule. He looks out the glass. Across the street sits a dark, boarded-up, abandoned house. Nobody lives there, but standing directly on the porch is a tall, perfectly motionless man, facing the brother's house, just watching. By establishing a clear physical boundary, the street, and giving an explicit command never to cross it visually, the creator takes a boring suburban view and turns it into a high-value zone of mystery, locking in early viewer retention. Over the next 2 nights, the situation escalates geographically. The man appears at exactly 3:02 a.m., but he physically closes the gap. He moves from the abandoned porch down to the sidewalk and eventually to the edge of the brother's own yard. Notice the specific constraint the creator uses here. The man is never actually seen walking. Every time the brother looks out, the figure is locked in that exact same perfectly still posture, occupying a slightly closer slice of geography. Removing this visible action triggers a psychological response called implied motion. Because you don't see how the man gets from point A to point B, your brain is forced to fill in the missing pieces, making the threat feel infinitely more erratic. The tension holds until the 3rd night, when the figure finally breaks its stillness. Slowly, the man raises one arm and points directly at the brother's 2nd-floor bedroom. Panic finally sets in, and the brother breaks the standoff by calling the police. Mathematically shrinking the physical distance between a threat and a victim generates massive audience anxiety. It creates a steadily rising curve of engagement without requiring a single frame of complex or expensive action. The police arrive quickly and conduct a thorough sweep of the dark street. They find absolutely nothing. No footprints, no man in the yard. The responding officer laughs it off, chalking the whole thing up to stress. He's about to leave, completely dismissive, right up until he pauses and asks the brother why someone is standing upstairs in his window. The brother freezes, turning his gaze up to the 2nd floor. There, standing behind the glass of his own bedroom window, is a perfectly still, dark silhouette watching them. The misdirection works because of how the spatial rules were originally established. The audience naturally assumed the window was a protective barrier, keeping the danger firmly on the outside. Violating that ultimate boundary of safety jolts the brain with fresh adrenaline. It hits right at the midpoint of the narrative, cleanly resetting the viewer's attention span just as the man-in-the-yard routine risked feeling repetitive. The police rush the front door and storm the house, but the 2nd floor is entirely empty. There is no intruder, and there is no physical evidence that anyone was ever up there. The brother sits awake in his room. At exactly 3:02 a.m., heavy, slow footsteps begin echoing up the stairs, walking methodically towards his door. The steps stop right outside his bedroom, then silence. For 10 agonizing minutes, nothing happens. He waits in the quiet room until, finally, he forces himself to open the door. The hallway is completely empty, but directly on the drywall, scrawled aggressively in black marker, is a message. "Now you can see me too." The spatial invasion is absolute. The threat has crossed the final threshold into the bedroom hallway, trapping the audience in the most vulnerable, intimate zone possible. The very next morning, the brother packs everything he owns and abandons the property. 3 weeks later, a new family of 4 moves in. The new father lasts exactly 2 nights. On the 3rd day, Pale and shaking, he tracks down the brother's new apartment, knocks on the door, and asks, "Why is there a man standing across the street every night?" The story ends right there. We never learn who the tall man is, what his motivations are, or how he physically bypasses the locked doors. Leaving the mystery open creates a psychological vacuum. The lack of resolution drives viewers back to the beginning to scrutinize the sequence, sparking debates in the comments and prompting shares to see if someone else can make sense of the void. Every beat of this story, from the 5-second warning to the subversion of the bedroom window, serves a single purpose. It exploits our primal spatial fears to drive the metrics of a digital platform, turning biological anxiety into a permanent engine for watch time.